This is Kurt from Classic Automotive Training School. We're going to show you the scissor lift that we just installed and kind of talk a little bit about why we chose it. We've had a lot of lifts over the years from 2-posters and 4-posters, and we chose this lift primarily because we wanted a clear floor. So I didn't want to have any large beams or posts that would get in the way. We're pretty limited in space. And I looked at different options. I looked at a cassette lift, and a cassette lift was a lot more expensive. It required a lot more prep. It required a much bigger hole and much larger excavation, so it was going to cost a lot more to do that. So we settled on the scissor lift. We looked at a couple of different ones, one that sat on the floor and then these that sit in ground, and decided that we wanted an in-ground lift. Now, the installation took a little bit more. I've installed above ground lifts, and usually you can install them in a day. This one took quite a bit longer because we obviously had to cut the concrete. We had to excavate, though it was not very deep. And then we had to pour its own separate pad to house the lifts. Now, we made some changes to fit our requirements. We changed the way the hole was built to allow the ramps to stay in their smaller state. We also removed the end caps. These ramps are 64 inches long with the 2 end caps installed. And since we're primarily lifting up Porsche 911 models, 64 inches is too long. The ramp would actually hit onto the tire. So we went ahead and pulled out both of the end caps on each ramp, and on the pit, instead of having the entire pit go all the way to the ground, we made a shelf so that it would take a block that is removable. So if we did want to lift a vehicle that required the extra length, then we could install the ramps and still lower the ramps all the way to the ground. As far as buying the lifts, we bought these from Greg Smith Equipment. They were fine to work with. The lift was in stock. The installation went pretty simple, no major problems. They are really, really heavy. We had a little bit of problems getting one of the ramps to come up and onto the locks to be able to install them. But really no harder than it's been installing a regular 2-poster or a 4-poster lift. Lifting a car on one of these lifts is a little bit different than using a conventional 2-post lift where you have to slide out the arms to pick up on your lifting point. On this lift, we've got to place rubber blocks underneath the lifting point. So the table gives us a lot more versatility in lifting points. It gives a much wider lifting point that allows for more variety of cars, although it may sometimes get in the way if we have a job like, say, replacing the AC lines. One of the disadvantages of this style of lift is we can't park another car underneath it with one car up on the lift. Now, for our application, it is not an issue, but in the production environment where we used to be, where we had a lot of cars overnight, I could see where it may be a problem, as often we would need to stack multiple cars underneath a car overnight to be able to fit them into our shop. Though, for us now, the clear advantage of having nothing around the shop when there is not a car on the rack far outweighs that disadvantage. Okay, you ready? The lift is easy to operate, somewhat easier than a conventional 2-post lift in that you don't hear the locks as it goes up and down. When you bring the lift down, the function is also somewhat easier, as it is a one button down until the lift hits about 2.5 feet off the ground and automatically stops. Once it stops, it gives you a chance to look around underneath the vehicle, make sure you got a clear floor, nobody's foot's in the wrong place. Then you release the down button and press it again, and it will beep as it comes down. But there is no second-hand operation needed to hold a lock like some other conventional lifts. Well, that's all we have for you today. I'd like to say thank you for watching. Please like the video if you like it, leave us a comment and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.